Hey everybody, Kara Castronova outside of the White House on 9/11 talking to a group of people who are from, what is your organization?
9/11 Truth Organization. We're a conglomerate of separate 9/11 Truth organizations, AE 9/11 Truth, DC
So
9/11
you're a
Truth.
9/11 Truth Organization and you're here today on 9/11 to talk about facts that you believe to be true. And I haven't talked to you yet, so I have no idea what it is you're going to say and tell me about 9/11 that you believe to be true, but why don't you go ahead?
Okay, well, Congressman Weldon has requested that we have a new investigation because he's been working with the firefighters and they found anomalies in how Building 7 came down. And he believes, as well as us, that it was a controlled demolition, as well as the other towers. So we have this brochure we're giving out for the president to request a new investigation. And we've been going to Congress. We're having a conference that we had yesterday. Ron Johnson was there. And tonight, Dennis Kucinich and Representative Weldon is going to be there as well. And it's going to be streamed on Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker Carlson's making a documentary about it also.
So what are your basic, so a lot of people want to know, because a lot of people do have suspicions about what happened about on 9/11. I think that's natural because the way it went down. What are the facts that you have that people don't know? Like, give me 5 things about 9/11 that people didn't know that you believe are misinformation by the government.
Okay, well, definitely there were explosives in the building. There's no doubt that those buildings could not have come down, both the towers and Building 7. Building 7 was not hit by an airplane. So there were definitely explosives in all the buildings. It was not caused by the plane coming down. The Pentagon, Rumsfeld announced that we were missing many billions of dollars the day before on September 10th, and they were going to investigate it. Curiously, the Pentagon was hit the next day in the same place where they're investigating the missing trillions. The hole in the Pentagon indicates that no plane hit it. The planes could not have been piloted by inexperienced pilots because they had to be remote controlled. So those are a few.
Do you know who a lot of people kind of have the theories, different theories about who was behind 9/11? Some people say it was an inside job. What is your organization's belief on that?
Well, everybody has a different belief, but it definitely is the deep state, which involves very rich, very powerful
Oligarchs.
countries.
Let's call them oligarchs.
Oligarchs. And what do you think the motivation was for 9/11?
Control to start the wars because people were having peace after Vietnam, but now we had a reason to go to war again, and we had an enemy. So they have to create enemies to have wars.
Great. And anything else? So you believe that it was a controlled demolition, that it was a deep state, so it wasn't Osama bin Laden. Then you're saying
Definitely was not Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden, as a matter of fact, was working for the CIA, and he died in early 2002 in a hospital from renal. He had a renal problem.
So you don't believe that the troops went in a special operation during the Obama years and killed
They had to keep him alive.
bin Laden?
They had to keep him alive, even though he was already dead, so that we would have reason to continue the wars. But he was already dead. Yeah, that's why they mysteriously threw his body in the ocean.
Do you think that the government knows the truth and they're hiding it, or maybe even they don't have the intel? Maybe the Congress has not been briefed if this is true, and the president has not been. Do you think that the government actually knows these things, or they don't, just like us?
I think most governments throughout the world know the truth, but they are threatened or they have reasons they cannot give the information out, just like they can't give information about the Epstein files away because they're all involved. Both parties and all the leaders are somehow involved.
In your opinion,
Massey may not be, involved in the collusion. We met with him, Republican not Thomas Massey. Senator Ron Johnson is we've got 2 more nights of Turning the Tide conference. Former Congressman Dennis Kucinich will be speaking this evening, and
so it's like bipartisan.
it's bipartisan. This issue is bipartisan. In fact, that's why I'm running as an independent in District 22 in Florida.
Isn't Ron Johnson, and good luck with your run, is Ron Johnson speaking? I think he's speaking at your conference.
Yesterday.
So Ron Johnson spoke at your conference.
And he's been on many podcasts talking about 9/11.
Right, so what are his beliefs on 9/11?
Well, he has investigated everything, and he knows what happened. He knows the truth about the fires and the demolitions, and he is saying that we will probably not get the truth out very quickly. He thinks it has to go slowly, but we here are hoping it'll go quicker.
Question: why would
One thing, there are 3,600 world-class architects and engineers that agree that those buildings came down not the way they said. 3,600 of them, and they're bipartisan.
my question would be about the planes? And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I have obvious doubts, as everybody else does. But why would they put the planes to the building? Obviously, all those people disappeared and died. They were on the planes and killed. So there were planes, but why would they use? I know it could have been a red herring, maybe. I've heard that theory before, but why did they drive the planes through the building if they used it?
To traumatize us, to shock and awe us, to use the words that the traitor Bush, uttered.
So you don't think that just like even if it was even if the narrative, the government narrative was that it was a bomb and an explosive and that somebody bombed and blew up the building, that wouldn't have been enough.
Well, no, because how could you put the bombs in the building? It would have to be an inside job to get the bombs in the building.
Right.
Osama bin Laden couldn't come in and put bombs in the
Right,
building.
so
So
that
they had
makes
to have a
sense.
plane so that they had an excuse for the construction of the buildings, for the collapse of the buildings.
Right, because then people will question how those bombs got in there that were big enough
Right.
to
That would be
demolish the World Trade Center, sadly. So there's so many theories going around, and I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Judy
Dr. Judy Wood, we talked about
Woods,
that.
right? Has she? Do you agree with her theory?
Well, actually, they debunked her theory last night, where we don't really agree that it was her theory. We think it was.
She said it was cold fusion.
Yeah, we think it was nanothermite. It's much more likely the real way. But what's more really certain is that it was not the official story. The planes did not make the buildings come down.
And why is it so important to get out the truth? And this has been now going on 24 years.
Because it's freeing truth. The truth shall set you free. That's John 8:32. And God is love. That's 1 John 4:8. It's the literalism of that God is like Zeus up in the sky that confuses so many people. God is love, period, with its attraction force and its equally necessary separation force.
And if indeed, I guess, what you're saying is factual, and it was an inside job, then that was obviously to stoke a war, and people should know about that because we don't want wars. I'm sure you guys are not believers in
We're all
wars.
anti-war, but not only that, it shows that these people are capable of anything. So therefore, when COVID came along, we truthers knew that that was a scam as well, because we know what the government is capable of and how big the lies they can tell.
Right. False flags. What other things, just really quickly, besides 9/11 and COVID, do you think were a scam that have been basically presented as official narrative by the government?
There's uncountable, but obviously the Kennedy murders, Martin Luther King. There's so many, a lot of
AIDS.
false flags.
AIDS. Dr. Judy Mikovits, her book, A Plague of Corruption, should be read by folk who Faustus Fauci needs to be in jail. Faustus Fauci needs to be in jail.
No, that's, I think,
We need
what
an
a lot of
indictment.
people
We need
agree.
a prosecutor's office that will indict them. And that's the issue with the fix, as we heard a speaker last night say. The fix is so institutionalized that there's no prosecutor and area that will... the Southern District of New York, we were given 60 articles to get a grand jury to investigate 9/11. And the prosecutor's office in New York corrupt? I don't know. But these are oligarchs and they're criminals. And they need to be exposed.
Well, I guess the question is, where do we go from here? It's been 24 years. I guess it's important to get out the truth for obvious reasons. So what are your final words on where we go from here, what we could do to get out the truth about 9/11 as you see it?
Well, I think what you're doing is exactly what we have to do, because as more people talk about it in the press, which is happening with Tucker Carlson and with all the normally the podcasters that wouldn't talk about 9/11 are now talking about it, and so are some congressmen. So that's what we have to do. We just have to keep talking about it so that there will be a mass awakening among the people.
And I guess a lot of people feel guilty because they don't want to disrespect the people who were first responders, but that they're victims then. If this is what you're saying is true, then the cops, the firefighters, the people that came down in the plane, everybody that died that day were used and they were victims. They were victims nonetheless. That doesn't mean that this wasn't a tragedy, and we shouldn't celebrate every 9/11 their lives and honor them.
The firefighters agree with us. Right there we have a brochure from the firefighters.
So the firefighters, you're saying, and I've heard a lot of firefighters firefighters say that day that what the narrative was fake, that they levitated off of the ground, all of these crazy things?
This initiative started because of the firefighters. This Weldon heard about it through the firefighters, and so
cards in your back
Well, the truth will set us free one day. That's the hope, and hopefully in our lifetime on all of these things that we the people feel like we should know, and the government should stop hiding the facts from us. So God bless you. And again, tell us where people could follow more. And this is a legit organization. Ron Johnson, Senator Ron Johnson, who we have a lot of respect for, and Democrats as well. You said who was coming?
Dennis Kucinich is coming to
Kucinich is coming tomorrow. So there are legitimate politicians that are part of this organization, or at least have spoken at their events. So this is a legit organization that is fighting for the truth about 9/11, which was promised to us by a lot of people that they would put the truth out finally. So hopefully that comes to us, and we'll try to understand and make, I guess, sense of why that happened. But thank you so much. Where can people follow you?
IC911.org is probably the best place to contact us.
The best place to contact, and probably find reading material, information, documentary links, and whatnot about what your theories are and why it's important. Thank you so much today.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much. Thank you.